this month gives us another look at the wonderful world of Miles Morales in his movie debut Spider-Man, Into the Spider-Verse, a Sony animation production. Jam-packed with story and characters any true Spider-Man fan would recognize and gawk at. For the most part, the second trailer dumps the plot right into our laps with the reveal of more than just 3 spider-clad superheroes. In fact, we get introduced to 6. But there are hints all over the trailer that would lead us to speculate that secrets and Easter eggs are plenty in this movie. To start off, the trailer starts with Peter Parker narrating his life experiences and routines at straight homage to the original Spider-Man trilogy by Sam Raimi, starring Tobey Maguire back 2002 to 2007. It's evoked as the background for this world-weary version of Spider-Man's career with the beloved runaway train sequence and an alternate take on the cafe kidnapping scene from Spider-Man 2, and the infamous upside-down kiss between Peter and MJ in the first film. Here's another montage from Peter's career, once more referencing the Raimi films here and there. There are fights with Scorpion, what looks like the film's oversized take on Green Goblin, Doc Ock, and a very Spider-Man No More style alleyway shot reminiscent of Spider-Man 3. I have a hunch that this Peter Parker is not meant to be but might as well be representing an older Tobey Maguire's version of Spider-Man. Cereal, comic books, Christmas albums. If you haven't got the message yet, this is an experienced Spider-Man. But this isn't about me. Not anymore, Peter says, as we see the first signs of this movie being about different universes. He swings by a street filled with signs for familiar products, only for it to glitch and turn into similar but not quite versions, as we are introduced to the world of Miles Morales, Shameik Moore, the Ultimate Spider-Man, from the Ultimate Marvel Universe. This is definitive confirmation that this Peter and Miles are from different universe, rather than this being the older Peter of Miles' reality. My name is Miles Morales, the one and only Spider-Man, he then tells us, as we cut from shots of him running around the bustle of New York to swinging around in his very own spider suit. Maybe the line's taken out of context, but the Spider-Man of his universe dying? At least that's what I thought, Miles adds, as we cut to the scene of a giant particle collider explosion. A particle collider being tested by none other than the kingpin of crime, Wilson Fisk, Liev Schreiber. We get to see Peter pull through the multiverse into Miles' reality, and the Spider-Men meet for the first time. Peter, at the least, is aware of the possibilities of parallel realities, as he goes on to explain to Miles through the most scientific of mediums, fries. Miles has his powers here, but hasn't really gotten a costume yet, as we see him suit up in what is basically a Halloween costume approximation of Peter's red and blue suit to hone his abilities. Take note of Peter wearing sweatpants. The training appears to be an on-the-job task, given Miles and Peter are swinging away from someone shooting some kind of laser gun-looking weapon at them. They're hauling away a suitcase labeled with the insignia of the Alchemax Corporation, usually seen in the comics in the far-off future of 2099, where Spider-Man 2099, aka Miguel O'Hara, battles the sinister Megacorp. But mid-swings they're tripped up, or rather twipped up, and meet another spider hero. Gwen Stacy, Haley Steinfeld, better known as Spider-Gwen, the Spider-Woman of Earth 65 in the comics. A brief montage of Gwen as she explains that she is from another universe gives us a moment of her in action, both as Gwen Stacy, drummer for the hit band the Mary Janes, lead by Earth 65's Mary Jane Watson. Miles begins to wonder just how many spider folks can exist. We meet 3 more in rapid succession. First up is Spider-Man Noir, voiced by, yes, really, Nick Cage, the Spider-Man of Earth 90214. He first appeared in Marvel Comics in 2009, and he's from the 30s, battling against corruptive influences and gangsters at the height of the Great Depression. Then there's Penny Parker of Earth 14512, Kimiko Glenn, the biologically linked pilot of an enhanced mecha called the SPDR. She was introduced, like Gwen for Spider-Verse in the comics. And then, there's Peter Porker, of Earth 8311, John Mulaney. Better known as the Spectacular Spider-Ham, Peter was a spider bitten by a radioactive pig. Specifically, the Aunt May of his universe, a scientist who accidentally doused herself with radiation. Spider-Ham was introduced in a gag edition of Marvel Tales in 1983. In the background, you can see that Peter's been working on connecting all of these shenanigans to a few of his most famous villains, including the Green Goblin and Kingpin, so perhaps the Kingpin behind it all isn't from Miles' Earth, but Peter's, and sends Peter there in the first place? This entire Spider Meet Cute seems to take place in the older Peter's base of operations, but whether it means Miles and Gwen have traveled with him back to his reality is uncertain. Presumably, the grey-haired woman we briefly see is his version of Aunt May. Also, fun little aside, blink and you'll miss it, but in the Hall of Spider-Man costumes behind the group in this scene, you can briefly glimpse the advanced suit designed for the recently released, and downright excellent, PS4 game Marvel's Spider-Man. As the Spider Gang reunite, it's frankly animation wizardry that Noir, Penny, and Spider-Ham all have their own unique animation and art styles compared to Miles, Gwen, and Peter. Gwen lays out their mission, they need to get back to their universes and sort out what's going on, otherwise the entire multiverse could collapse. Brooklyn is gonna collapse. Miles gasps. My family lives in Brooklyn. And we finally get to meet a few more members of Miles' family, primarily Aaron Davis, Mahershala Ali, Miles' uncle. He becomes the criminal known as the Prowler. And we get to see the Prowler as he chases Miles, who is in his Peter Parker-style suit. Miles tussle with two familiar Spider-Man villains. Tombstone, a mobster who eventually got superhuman abilities, including invulnerability to injury, and Scorpion. It seems like not all of these villains are from the same universe, just like our heroes, most are, presumably, from Peter's reality rather than Miles'. After a very brief shot of the movie's ginormous take on the Green Goblin and Kingpin examining the Super Collider, we return to the bedroom Miles and the other spiders found themselves in, as a shocked Miles examines his hands, pulsing with energy. Comics fans will know this ability sets him apart from Peter and the usual Spider-Person power set. Miles has bioelectrokinesis. As we cut between high-flying action shots of Miles and Gwen, and Peter lovingly examining a photo of Mary Jane. It's no great power, great responsibility, but Peter calms the panicky Miles with a lovely message, as we see Miles continue to swing through Brooklyn, now in his own costume. In a world of Spider-Men, women, and hams, what makes each of them unique and different is what really makes them heroes. We then get a beautiful little nod back to Miles and his dad's joke from earlier in the trailer. Lowers his voice and tells Jefferson that he loves him. Not much to the confusion of Officer Davis. The team tries to hide in the bedroom we saw earlier, which, if this is them back in Miles' reality, seems like it could be the bedroom of Into the Spider-Verse's version of Gank Lee. Gank is Miles' best friend and closest confidant about his spider secret. Fun little note, maybe Gank is reading a comic titled Imagine That. There was more than one Spider-Man, including a few alternate Spider-People that seem like they're references to the six-armed Spider-Man of Earth 92,100 and someone who looks a lot like Ultimate Jessica Drew, the Spider-Woman of Miles' reality in the comics. The final shot of the trailer mirrors the opening, this time with Miles in Peter's place, placing his mark, literally, in the form of tag name sticker, on a similar but slightly more panther-looking gargoyle as Peter did, overlooking his own version of New York. This latest look at Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is delightfully jam-packed with some hilariously deep cuts to Spider-Man lore, as you can see from all the amazing Easter eggs we've just pointed out. We've got a much better picture now of what to expect when Into the Spider-Verse swings into theaters on December 14th. Thank you for watching.